All right, so last time around, we just got this orders button working, and we can choose sort of cancel, deconstruct, mine, chop, or harvest, and we can drag it out. We have a nice, disgusting pink square there. So now what we want to do is make it so when I square these three guys, it'll harvest those guys. Right now, it just disappears the square, nothing happens. So let's get to it. So that square happens in my UI module. So let's see, we're in ordering mode, we release, that's right. And we'll make a function called place orders. Now, when the order first comes to the UI, it's got a name here. So let's make sure we're recording that when it comes in. So let's just make a little variable. Current order. And that's going to be a task.orders. Task.orders? Yeah, that's right. I just got to have something in there as default because it's basically an integer. I guess it could be a null. What happens if I put a null in here? Some languages don't like having a null. Still got that there. If I undo. Oh, I was just complaining about that. All right. Sorry about that. That's pretty stupid. All right. So let's see. We place the orders, or first of all, current order equals order. Let's go back and make sure that's actually coming through correctly. So that's coming from my UI, not my UI, the architect panel of the UI. Well, I tell you what, let's do it this way. What happens? Well, actually, it's already coming through. So now for orders, harvest. Yes. I think it's coming through as a string because I'm stealing the label from the button rather than sending through the order. So let's go back to the UI, go back to here. And when we create the buttons, yes, we pass through orders number I. No, we put the button text on there. Yes, so what we're doing is we're grabbing all the keys and adding them to the orders as a string. So I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll just add the integer there because that will be, it's either 0, 1, 2, 3, or 4. What I'm doing for the button is I'm basically turning these into strings, and that's what we're sending through at the moment. We're sending through cancel or deconstruct or mine. I just want to send the number. That should do it. Let's give that a quick try. So now if I send through cancel, it should be 0, deconstruct 1. So let's do harvest, and what's that, like 5 or something? 5 or 6? 4. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Well, I've got to learn to count, yeah. All right. And if it's mine, 0, 1, 2. Yeah, so that's working. So now the UI actually knows what order to send through. Yep, it's stored. All right, so place the orders. This is going to have to go to the task manager, but first we need a list of everything in that square. So that's going to have to come from the terrain storing all that stuff. So what if we go terrain, and we need to find a list of orderable items in a certain range. Actually, let's, just like with all the other drag and select, we need to have the current mouse position. And let's say find orderable items. And we'll give the two corners of that rectangle. So it starts at the start placing position. We'll stretch to the mouse position. And let's give it the order as well, because I think the objects know, or the objects don't know. We'll make it so the objects know. We're going to have to put in a test somewhere to pick which items harvest applies to, which one chop applies to. We'll probably add that as a tag or something to each item. But for now, let's just pass through that order. So it's the current order. And let's call that target items. So that'll be returned as an array. And then pass array to task manager. We'll come back to that in a minute. Let's get this going. All right. So find audible items. It's going to have from, which will be a vector 2i. It's going to have to, which will also be a vector 2i. It's going to have the order, which is a task.orders. And let's go, well, let's first get a list of everything in the rectangle. So let's go items in rect, get items in rect from to, and let's just get everything. Because we'll probably need this in other cases. Just steal that. All right, so we'll have a list. And yeah, we're just going to iterate through the whole rectangle. So 4x in range. And this is the start, this is the finish, but the start click could be to the left or the right. So if I click and drag, the x could be bigger or smaller. So what we need to do for our, for our range, what we'll do is we'll just go min. And what this will do is it'll pick whichever number is the smaller. So if it's the x is smaller, we'll grab that. If min is small, if the y is smaller, we'll grab that. And to the max of from.x and from.y. There, so that'll give us a range from the lowest one to the highest one, and let's do exactly the same. So these should all be x. We want to get the smallest x, and then for y, we want to get the smallest y to the largest y. And then we just want to see if there is something at that position. So just if items.has vector 2i x y. Then we'll go to our list and we'll append the item at vector 2i x y. Cool. So if there's something at the position, we'll add it to our list, and then when we're done, we'll just return the list. Great, so that'll give us absolutely everything in that rectangle. Let's give that a try actually. So print items in rect. Let's see if that works or if I've broken something. Architect, orders, harvest, and I should get 3 trees. Nothing, 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 nothing. If I just print everything in items. Orders. I've got nothing in items at all. Items. So when I add them, they get added to the terrain. Place item. So they get added to the list. Yes. And then they get added to the tile map. Oh, I wonder if it's something to do with the fact that I'm adding them in as a tool. They're going in the editor. What I might do is when we start, let's actually generate the terrain. Going back to the video number 1, if you don't recall, what's actually happening is my world is here. I generate it by going to my terrain and just clicking that, and it's already ready when I start the game. But I guess maybe the lists aren't staying in or something. I don't know exactly how it works in Godot, but let's give that a try. So now it's going to be reset when I start the game, so I'll have a different map. Yeah, there we go. It's a nice one actually. And you see it placed all the objects. And now if I go harvest, well, it just gives me everything in the list. All right, let's go back and fix that. What we want to do, what am I looking for? Instead of print items, I just want to print items in the rectangle. Orders and nothing. Nothing. Odd. So we've got the list of stuff in items. We saw it's in there. Why is this not working? Going from X. Oh, what a dickhead. All right, guys. To. Wait, from or to? I'm sure you guys were screaming at me when I was doing this. I just wasn't even thinking. The 2 we're picking from is from X or to X. We've got from X, Y, to X and Y. We want to pick the lowest out of the from and the to, and then the highest out of the from and the to. I can't believe I just did that. Jesus Christ. All right. And now that I'm here, I'm realizing I need to also just add 1 to the end of that as well. And let's give that a crack. All right, orders, harvest, 1 tree, 2 trees, berry bush and tree and berry bush, yep. Well, this be 3 trees, 1 berry bush, 4 trees. 1, 2, 3, 4 trees. I think this is working. Can I just click? 1 tree, 1 berry bush. It works sort of from this way, from this way, from this way. All right, I think that is solid. All right, now we can select and we can get a nice list of everything in that rectangle. Beautiful. Step 1 locked in. So for my next trick, we need to actually send the order. So let's go back to the find orderable items. We've got to work out, can we send an order to this thing? So let's say for items in rect. We'll go through each one. Let's do a match on the order. And we'll just go, if it's task.orders.cancel, let's pass for now. And let's just, what were they? Deconstruct, mine, chop, harvest. Deconstruct, mine, chop, harvest. Deconstruct, mine, chop, harvest. All right, so let's say we do harvest first. So I think we've already actually built a task for that, so that'd be the best one to check with. So how can we check if an item can be harvested? Right now, both my trees and my bushes can be. But let's go have a look at one of them. So let's have a look at my berry bush. And we could just say if it's a plant. But I'm not 100% sure all my plants will be harvestable. So I actually want to have 2 separate things as chop and harvest. Harvest will be for a tree only if it's like a berry tree or an apple tree, or I think it's a chocolate tree in Rimworld. But your standard wood trees won't be harvestable at all. So I want some sort of tag in here. Now I could just say, if it's got this function, try harvest. But what if I've already harvested it? That should work a second time as well. So I need one for if it's ready to harvest. I tell you what, for now, let's keep it simple. Let's just write can harvest and just return true by default. And so let's just give that to every item, I guess. And by default, it'll be false. And this way, every item will be assumed harvestable. It'll be checked here to say it's false. And if it's a berry bush, we'll have some sort of thing to work out if it's ready to be harvested. So we've got harvest amount. So why don't we just go return, no, sorry, harvest amount is how much of the berries it drops. Harvest progress is what I'm thinking of. So it starts at 0, and when it's finished, when it gets to 1, it's finished as my 100%. Maybe that's not the best way to do it. Let's do it like that for now. So if, let's say, harvest progress is a less than 1. Yeah, anything less than 100%, we can harvest it. Good, and that will apply to trees and my berries, which both use the same method at the moment. And I need to, the harvest item, they're going to have different harvestable objects. Well, let's just have them do berries for now. All right, so now, if we go back here, if item dot can harvest, then what do? We need to keep a list of all of these first. So var target items, we'll go target items dot append the item, and then when we're done, well, this is just finding the orderable items. So all we're going to do now is just return that list. All right, so let's assume that works. That'll get sent back to my UI, target items, and let's just print target items. And so it should only print things which can be harvested, which is all my trees at the moment. I should drop down maybe some wood or something. All right, orders, harvest, berry bush. Good. And if I go orders and say mine, nothing. Good, nothing mineable yet, doesn't know how to search. All right, so now we've got the list. Now we need to send it to our tasks. So right now, our task manager, we can add tasks, but that works off the task tag. So you can actually make an individual task like this. So that's sort of subtasks. What I want to do is make one for an order. So let's go back to task manager and let's just make a new one here. Func add order, and let's go to the order and the target item. So pretty much the same. And I think I'll have that same match case. And what we'll do is, if it's a harvest order, we'll just go add task task.task type.harvest. Oops. Harvest the target item. Now that's sort of just working as a bridge between the two for now. But this might get changed a little bit up later. But yeah, for now, this will basically create a harvest task grabbing this or this, I think. Is that just going to work? Let's give it a go. Orders, harvest. I've got my little guy up here. Nope. Did I not actually? Yeah. Okay. So does this guy have access to the task manager? It does not. Task manager. And then we'll just go for item in target items, task manager dot add order, current order, and what's with the item. Now that should work. Can I get one? Yep, there he goes. Harvest, 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 and crash. Remove item from world. So this is part of the old system. For harvesting, no, we don't remove them at all, but we need to spawn the new item, of course. All right, let's just try that one more time. Make sure harvesting's working now, and we'll come back. Because what this used to do was delete the bush and then drop a berry. I still want to drop a berry, but we'll come back and fix that in a minute. So I go orders, harvest, and if I do one, here he comes. And harvest it. And I can't do it a second time because its harvest amount is 1. And if I go and just drag a whole bunch of stuff, he'll grab that one and he should do it in sort of this order. Beautiful. All right. So now he's harvesting. We just have to make the spawn items work. Now the old way of spawning items spawned in sprites, so that's not quite working at the moment. So that's the item manager, spawn item by name. So it's going to be now, the terrain's going to handle that. The harvest item, which is berries. Yep, that's fine. The range, which is the amount. Well, that still works, but let's use the one from terrain. I've actually remade this method a few times. All right, so let's just go fix this one. We'll take a name and then spawn the item in that position. All right, terrain. So we got place item by name. Oh, I've already got it. Place item by name. All right, that works. Let's go back to my berry bush. Place item by name. And I can see a problem coming that's going to place it in that same position, but let's just make sure my spawning works the way I think it does. Harvest to it. Let's get a tree and a berry bush. Oh, okay. Was it not world to map position? World to terrain position. Harvest, let's get a tree and a berry bush. Oh, place item by name doesn't have an amount. So let's add that amount, just an int, and default it to 1. Item. Now I'm not going to apply that not to constructions because you can't have two walls in the same spot. Equals amount. And so now it goes item, terrain position, then the amount. Orders harvest. Let's get a tree and a bush. Let's see how we go this time. Let's say place by name. Place by name expects 2 arguments. I've given it 3: the item, the position, and the amount. Did I not save it? The item, the position, and the amount. What is place item by name? Item dot count equals amount. All right, that's how you do it. Sorry guys, let's see how much of that I leave in. Architect, orders, harvest, bush, tree. Yes, drop the berry on top. Yes, all right, so we've dropped the berries. It's written over the tree on the terrain map though. So here's a little bit of a complicated thing. So that's working. I need to make it so instead of dropping it on the top and overriding my tree, I want to drop it in the, I could just have it so you can have trees and berries in the same position, but I don't think I want to do that. It's having one more layer of stuff, and I think let's have that on the items layer. So what I need to do is check basically here, is that empty? And if that's not empty, check here, then here, then here, and we'll go in a spiral until we find the closest empty spot. I think that's the way to go. How I'm going to do that, I'm not sure. Let's have a think. First, we need to check, is this item, is this position full? So let's think, all right. Is position empty? And we take the terrain position, which is a vector 2i, and we just go if not items dot has terrain pos. And we better check constructions as well. And not items dot has, not items, constructions dot has terrain pos. So if none of that's, yeah, if neither of those fire, then we return true because that position is empty. Or else return false, it's not empty, and we look somewhere else. Okay, so I've just been having a squiz through StackOverflow, and I found this 15-year-old question here, this is pretty much what we're looking for here, how to draw out a spiral. And after scrolling through, there's actually quite a lot of answers for this one. But after reading through this, I found this one here, which I sort of picked it because it's sort of concise, and I think we can translate this from, what's that in C or C sharp? No, C++. We're going to translate this and use it to our benefit. So let's make a new function, get the spiral positions, and we're basically going to copy this guy out here. Now this is going to return a bunch of XY positions, a bunch of vector 2s basically, and they're going to be centered around 0. And what we'll do when we're done, we'll add our origin to that. So let's put that in now. And this n here, that's basically how many vectors it's going to return. So let's call that max count. All right, now we've got our initial x and y. And it's not in this, but we want to record our positions as we go in an array. All right, so it's just a simple for loop. So we'll go for I in range max count. And you can see this is where it's printing out the positions. So this is where we'll append it to our positions. So positions.append vector 2i xy. And now we just copy this guy, which yeah, should pretty much be exactly the same. And then x plus equals. Now we've got this inline if here, which if GDScript has that, I don't know about it, so we'll just write it out. So if y is plus equal to 0, so that's that little question mark there. Then we just go x plus equals 1, or else it's x plus equals minus 1. Then we've got an else, and then we're doing a similar thing again for the y's and the x. So x, y, y. That's right. Oops. And then this should return the positions. So let's get rid of this guy, and let's just see if this works. So when I first start up, let's go print get spiral positions from vector 2i 0, 0, and let's give 10 results. 0, 0, 1, 0, 1, 1, 2, 1, 2, 2, 3. That's not right. These ones should be flipped. That's what I get for being lazy and just copy pasting it. 0, 0, 1, 0, 1, minus 1. So let's see, we're going to the right. We're going up 1, going left 1, left another 1, down 1, down another 1. Yes, this is it. I tell you what, just to test this properly, let's draw a line. So what I'll do is I'll make a shortcut for this for myself, because in my terrain I can probably draw lines, but I've already got a drawing thing set up here. So let's make a new function in this one. Trace points, and this will take an array of points. So we'll pass an array of points through here, and then we will queue a redraw, and then we'll just draw those out. So for I in range length of trace points, and we just go draw line from trace points number I to trace points I minus 1, and what we'll do is we'll start at 1 here. Let's make the line color color.red, and let's make the line width 0.5, and yeah, let's have our anti-aliasing. All right, so now when I run trace points and pass the points through, it should draw them for me. Let's give that a go. So let's go var points equals, and we've got the points. Now they're going to be in the terrain position. So let's go for I in range length of points. Let's just go points number I equals, what is it is, terrain to world position, points number I. And now that we've done that, let's go our draw layer dot trace points. And I don't think we've got the draw layer here. Oh, I do, good, all right. So now it should also draw those points out for me. And look at that, there's my beautiful spiral. All right, now let's think about it. We need to go out, let's go out to about here. I don't want to search the whole map every time. So let's make it, it's going to be 5 by 5. So let's try and make it 25. Start here. And I think that's a good way. I think if it's anything further out, we can just go not place it. So I don't really want it. It's going to get quite heavy if we make this too big. All right, so delete that. That's working now. What we have to do now is when we, I'll get rid of that. So now when we're placing, before we do any of this, we need to make sure the position is good. So let's go equals get spiral positions, and we're going from terrain pos, and we're going to do, what did I say? 25, 5 by 5. Okay, so for pos in positions, if, what did I call that one? Is position empty. Is position empty, then we can basically do all this stuff. Oops, one more. And then once we've done that, what we'll do is we will break the loop, and then we should be good. I think the only problem right now is it's not doing anything if it never breaks the loop. If it just searches everything, all those possible positions, those 5 by 5, and doesn't find the spot, it won't do anything yet. But let's just give it a go and see if that works. So if I harvest this one, it should be placed here. So I couldn't find my berries. Berry bush. Oh, this needs to be updated to berries. Okay, let's try it again. Okay, it's working, but the same way, it's just copying them over them. Oh, of course. Just dropping everything in that original terrain position, basically making all this pointless. So I've got to go through and make sure instead of terrain pos, everything after this goes in the actual position from the list. All right, let's give that a go. Oh, I know what I've done wrong. I never actually added the origin to these positions. It should be origin.x plus that. Origin.y plus that. So all these are basically counting from 0. So everything's being put in that 0 position. And it happened to all my trees because this now applies to everything. So the trees are spread out. That's good. And now when I harvest this one, it should be placed here. Yes, and when I harvest this one, this spot should be empty, so it should place it here, or here. Cool. All right, now I'd love to change the behavior of this because I don't particularly love that it gets put here next. I feel like it should put it in the directly adjacent spots first, but I think this is good for now. And I think now we can harvest. I think next we've got to clean up this harvesting a little bit, or maybe I'll do that later. I really want to just get the guys building stuff with this wood. So I might make the sort of the regrowing things come back later. I might just make the regrowing and the full life cycle of the trees more robust a bit later. For now, I might just make it so we can harvest. And now I think the next thing I'm going to do is make it so we can pick up this wood to build the walls, because that's what I've really been waiting for. So when I go when I go structure, wall, and build a wall, he'll actually be required to go and find some wood and bring it here first. And to do that, we'll have to make the task system a bit more robust and actually have a fail safe if there's nothing available. And I think that's a big feature. I want to be working on that next, and then clean up the trees a little bit later. All right. Whew. I reckon that's enough for now. Thanks a lot for hanging around, guys. I hope you got something out of that, and I'll see you next time.